Today is a sad day. As of this week, I have lost officially my basically 5-year-old hard drive. It's all done, junk toast. Ripped it apart, put it in the freezer, did the whole 9 yards, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's 2020 or so to December 2025, almost exactly December to December. Now, not this specific hard drive, it didn't actually last this long, but the content in it did. It held the system memory from multiple computers. Now I do have another one, so I can record again, but it's got me thinking a lot, you know, because I must declare it had me quite unhappy. Oh, I can probably duplicate that, actually, if I go in and out of doors. The one up. It's got me feeling a little tragic because, hey, that's history, that's years. All my videos I still have archived on YouTube, but beyond that, there's years. There's basically my entire high school and beyond experiences is kind of what was housed on the multiple images and videos and etc. on that, and it's got me you know, I thought it would have me thinking more about the nature of information and time and whatnot, but not really. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because on one hand, I think it's very exciting in a sense to have a new slate, you know, start new this year, having a folder start now and just appreciate old memories and move on to new ones. But on another level, it's, you know, it's very hard to kind of let go of stuff that wasn't meant to disappear like that. And I suppose it might be my fault. Oh, sorry, dude. I'm so polygonal when I go under there. Look at that. Wait, how do I sinkage? Surely like this. Yes. Yeah, see that? Boom. I think maybe there's a part of me that feels secure, you know? Having a lot of old stuff that I'm just never gonna look at. A lot of old, like, images, just random stuff. But at the same time, it feels a little freeing not to have it, but that freedom has to come with a degree of emptiness too, because now I have the freedom to just, I'm not held down by transporting hours, maybe even days of information and sorting all that. But it's gone. So yeah, it may seem like a simple thing on the surface, but for, I think, creatives and just chronically online people, it's a big deal, because that's a lot of my real life memories that are reduced to memories now and not tangible recollections. And I kind of attribute it to this experience I had maybe 2 years ago when I was medicated for anxiety, right? And I just had terrible crippling anxiety. It ruined my breathing patterns. It was a big issue. Not that I don't still deal with it today, because it's a disorder, but it was at its height at the time. And I got medicated for it. I went to the doctor. I worked stuff out. And I didn't feel anxious anymore, but I didn't feel happy either. I felt like, even though the anxiety itself was gone, there was nothing in its place, so I just felt kind of empty, and I didn't have any. I knew how to stave off the anxiety, but I didn't know healthy thinking patterns to replace that. So therefore, I kind of ended up in this state of freedom that I didn't know exactly what to do with, because I was just like not feeling much, and then I would get sad about not feeling much. That's kind of what losing a lot of this stuff I've worked to build up, these memories I've made, at least, again, the tangible representations of them, that's how it feels in a way. I'm glad to be gone of the burden of so much information, almost hoarding information, but at the same time, now I have to replace it with something, and I'm trying to figure that out. Apply that to life without panic attacks and constant anxiety. You have similar thoughts of, like, what do I do now? Do I go back to things that made me happy as a child in order to find drive and purpose? Do I find new things? Is it a combination of the two? Those are things I had to work through and still have to work through because I'm a human being. And creatively, I've been asking the same question. How much of my old tendencies are something that's still things that still bring me, like, not just things that I think are creatively worthwhile, but things that still bring me joy personally. And what new things should I search for? These are questions that I think are important and simultaneously very hard to answer. Because rightfully, I think a lot of people will say, just do what you want to do. But what if you have no clue what the heck you want to do? What if you are not king of your inspiration? Then at that point you should just try new things, right? And I think that's fair. I think that's like one of the most healthy things you can do is just try new things. But when people say that, I think we forget how draining that is. Because just because you're trying a new thing doesn't necessarily therefore mean that you're going to enjoy that new thing. You're trying it to see if you'll like it, and sometimes you don't. And you're stuck there now, especially if it's a commitment like a job or on a smaller level like a series. I know for me, in my past, when I was younger, I started my channel, the Swag channel brand, when I was around 14, and after various attempts since like age 7 to really create a consistent brand, and I finally hit that when I was 14 and I made Swag. And I still had the exact same issue that I did for the longest time of never being able to finish a series. And that's because I think maybe I would dream big and it would come out in a very ambitious way, but my commitment, the nourishment I would get from creative, spiritual, emotional, whatever nourishment I get from the creative project would not last. And I got to see that in a very real way this year in getting a job around September, my first in-person job. I've had online jobs before, unless you count like my childhood paper route that I did for like 7 years. And this job was very desperate for people, and it paid fine. You know, it wasn't anything to scoff at, but it wasn't, you know, it was good. It was a good entry-level job. I'd say better than your average entry-level job, because they just needed people and apparently had the resources to pay slightly above minimum wage. I don't know how much I was making there. Just a couple dollars above minimum wage in my state, I'd say. And it was a job that I was very passionate. I'm not good at this. I was very passionate about the concept of, because it made me feel like I could do something, you know, like I can make an important impact, because my last job at the time was a job where I had an incredible, wonderful relationship with my boss, because I was freelancing. So it was just the two of us. But the work itself was very unfulfilling emotionally for me, and was very draining, because I felt like I wasn't putting anything useful or good into the world. I was working as an advertisement editor at the time, and I ended up in a disabled care social service this year in September, and I was very passionate about helping people. So I did that job for around 2 weeks or so. Went through very not particularly lax training. Very emotionally distressing, but important training, just a lot for a new adult. And at a certain point, after being on the floor for a while, actually doing the work when I was sufficiently trained, I realized that I couldn't do the work. Because I just knew many of the things I had overcome personally, so many star bits, with my anxiety and many of my coping mechanisms, but more so than coping mechanisms, many of the things I had used to heal in a greater sense than a coping mechanism were being reversed, because it's not a job that I was emotionally prepared for the weight of. Because these are real people. These are people's lives at stake. And I was responsible for making sure that they got to be treated just as equally as anyone else got to, and they got the support that they needed. And I realized eventually that I couldn't give that to them because I had limitations mentally. Because for one reason or another, the job just activated a part of my brain that really apparently hadn't. It did heal, but I think I opened up some old wounds of panic and stress. So I resigned, and I no longer work there because as much as I desperately wanted a stable job, it would be irresponsible of me not to. Oh shoot, the star's right there. Okay, good, I get to live. It would be irresponsible of me to put myself in a situation where I'm doing an important job without the faculties to see it to the end. So I think all of that to say, the way in which I've treated my passion content does not have that far a grasp from my struggles in my personal life, I feel, because oh yes, this is the galaxy where you save Luigi as Luigi. Similarly, I would feel a great degree of disappointment in myself at times, but more so just discomfort and dissatisfaction when I couldn't finish a series that I would start, because I would get in over my head and believe I really could do something that I just either didn't have the passion to, or in the case of my job, didn't have the ability to. I think the difference now that I'm experiencing a similar degree of trying something new and failing at it, now it has real world consequences, and those consequences are they're more important and dire than not finishing my Outer Wilds Let's Play. So it really is just hard to start new things, especially the older you get, because it's not that people who used to do those things but now are in a comfortable state of mind don't understand what it's like. It's that they're very far out from it, and no one, regardless of their experience with it, can relate to you exactly in that moment unless they're undergoing the same thing. People just do not, unfortunately, and all of us can relate to this, completely fully have the ability to empathize unless you are sharing the burden of something. You can get to maybe 90% or so, especially if you've been through that. But if you haven't been through that, then how do I kill this guy? If you haven't been through that before, then it's even harder. Oh, I guess I get him into the light. Nice. And I think because of that fact, it can feel patronizing when people tell you to try new things and to take steps that are very hard and possibly life-altering, like a career, or on a more microscopic level, a new artistic endeavor. Because to you're experiencing all the stress of what that means, and especially when it comes to something like where you want to take your life, it's your whole livelihood. This is what you're gonna be doing for at least a portion of your life. And what do you do if you just hate that? More importantly, what do you do if you can't do that? Because it's one thing to hate a job or an artistic pursuit. It's another thing to be incapable of it. It hurts a lot more to fail than to move on. Because when you fail, it's your inability that's preventing you. And when you move on, you're just doing something different because what you were doing doesn't serve you anymore. And they can be the same. Dean, my goat. At the very least, they go hand in hand often. There you are. So confusing. Yes, wait, this is the outro domain. Yes. Oh. So I guess to anyone watching who's undergoing feelings like that, I get it. I am very familiar with it, especially in the year of our Lord 2025. Oh yes, I forgot about the boosh room. Not only I think is it important to say that tell yourself that you are not a failure, nor are you your actions. If nothing else, you are the culmination of everything you have undergone and you are currently undergoing. And regardless of whether or not you can feel that on an emotional level, it is true. And that's something I'm dealing with right now and trying to understand, really, is how to feel the fact that you are not failing in these experiences. And at the very least, not failing on a grand level. Because...
Well, I guess there's enough people in the universe for one person to look like me. Anyway, I found a power star. Let's take it back.
Yes, sirree. I thought when you get a power star, you just transport back, but... Alright. Do I just have Luigi in my place now? In my starship? Oh. It's important that your self-talk remains respectful, you know? If you're thinking about yourself to yourself, whatever. He is there, oh my gosh. You know, don't speak to yourself like you wouldn't speak to anyone else. You deserve just as much respect in your self-talk as others do. And at the end of the day, I'm trying new things too, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. Don't let anyone convince you that it doesn't suck, because it does. But I have faith that it's worth it, and I have faith that it's worth it for you too, in whatever you're doing in one way or another. Maybe it'll make sense 20 years down the line, you know? It's not some kind of perfect, ideal scenario where everything makes sense within a year of it happening, but you can find meaning out of it. You can push out some degree of purpose and progress through your failures, whether it's the smallest little unwillingness to continue a creative project, or a job that didn't work out, or a relationship, or whatever. You know, I know what it's like to lose all three of those things, and it sucks. But maybe instead of focusing on the big picture and exactly what's going to happen in the future, and the fact that this is working towards some pie-in-the-sky goal that you're excited for, just focus on the fact that you are enduring right now, and you're gonna endure to tomorrow, and then the next day, and you don't have to be living your life right now for the life that you're gonna have in a year or 2 years. You can live your life right now unto that life, and not exclusively for it, because then you're not going to enjoy where you are once you make it there, because you're only undergoing hardships for the future and not learning to, at least in some level, enjoy, or at the very, very least endure your life as it is. And sometimes the most that you have is just to know that there are other people enduring it as well. and sticking it out. And sometimes knowing that much is it's a comfort. At the end of the day, my optimism goes further than just survive this day. But for some people, they need to be told it's okay to just get through today instead of think of everything that's going to happen in 10 years, because the future matters a lot and we should prepare for it. But at the exact same time, the future only matters because you're experiencing it right now, because you used to think now would be the future, and now it is, and all you can think about is your next future. The future doesn't mean anything if you're not willing to acknowledge the fact that you're living in it right now. Keep on trucking, white boy. You got a whole future ahead of you.